Welcome back to the Inner Altar. We are in episode 5. Today, I want to talk about motherhood. And I don't want to talk about the filtered one. And I don't want to talk about the picture perfect Instagram one. Okay. Not the one that is wrapped up in matching outfits, milestone photos, and perfectly curated memories. No, 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 no. Okay. I want to talk about the raw truth of it. Okay. The beautiful truth, the heartbreaking truth, the fucking exhausting truth. The kind of truth that lives somewhere between overwhelming love and utterly complete exhaustion. Because motherhood has changed me more than anything else ever has. From the get, I never wanted kids. From 7 years old, I witnessed my mom give birth to my brother. And it was a very gross and traumatic experience for a little girl, but I did it, and, yeah, from that moment, I never wanted kids. Everything about that night was just an absolute no for me and my future. I mean, when my mom gave birth, I stood there small and silent and my little heart pounding in my chest and honestly not fully understanding what I was seeing, but feeling everything all at once. And it terrified me. It truly fucking terrified me. And I just keep thinking, absolutely not. I don't want that. And for years, I carried that belief with me. While other girls dreamed about being moms, I didn't. I wasn't imagining nurseries or baby names or future families or anything like that. But the beautiful thing about it is here I am today, to a mother of two beautiful girls who have changed every single part of me. A mother to two beautiful girls who have cracked me wide open in the most beautiful way. The moment Sequoia came into my life, there was a big shift, and it wasn't an overnight shift, and it wasn't some magical movie moment type of shift. It was a slow and quiet, steady shift that had happened. And it happened through all of the sleepless nights, and it happened through all of the moments that I spent with her alone and experienced with her alone, through the tears and laughter and fear and joy and just all the moments that nobody really prepares you for. Because here's the deal, becoming a mother, it really isn't just about having a baby. It's now becoming responsible for a piece of your heart that now lives outside of your body. And it's truly realizing that your entire world can change in an instant when it comes to them. It changes when someone gets sick or cries or, gets hurt. It changes when they smile and they laugh. And if you'd ask me, motherhood really is just realizing that you're never going to experience life the same way again. And my motherhood, I did have a good support system with my parents. However, the biological father of Sequoia was not very supportive in parenthood. And that's what began my spiral of survival. The first 3 years of Sequoia's life, I was a single mom. And if you have ever been a single mom, you know exactly what I'm going to say right now. It is fucking hard. And it's not hard. It's not hard in the way that people casually throw around the word hard, okay? It's soul deep hard. It is carrying everything, every responsibility, every decision, every bill, appointment, fear, bedtime, sick day, meltdown, everything. Okay. It is waking up before the sun and just falling asleep completely depleted at the end of the day. And all the while, you're still wondering if you're enough and if you're still showing up the way that they need you to show up. There were nights when it was just me and her, and there was no backup. There was no one to help lend me a hand with her or say, "Don't worry, I got this." There was no one to take over when I was sick or she was sick. It was just us. And I remember one night in particular, it was quiet and I could hear the hum of the refrigerator and the creaking of my parents' house because I was living with my parents at the time, and she was crying, and it was that deep, tired cry that just comes from being overtired and unable to just settle. And I held her against my chest, just pacing back and forth and in the dim light downstairs, and my back is aching, my arms are aching, my eyes burning from exhaustion. And her tiny little fingers are just clutching my shirt and her little warm breath against my neck, and I could just feel my own tears slipping down my face. And I kept whispering to her, "I got you, and I got you, I got you." But I felt like I was barely holding myself together. It was almost like maybe I was telling myself that. There were moments I felt like I was drowning, moments I cried after she went to sleep, and a shit ton of moments wondering if I was doing any of it right. I felt so lonely. So lonely. I really did. Even though I wasn't physically alone, and I was living with my parents and I had my brothers, I had my both my parents, I truly felt alone because motherhood could be incredibly lonely, especially when you really are holding it all together. And what people don't see is the mental load, the invisible weight, the constant running checklist in your head. Do they eat enough? Do they have clean clothes? What do they have for school? What do they need for school? Did I sign the papers? Did I schedule that appointment? Did I miss that appointment? Am I spending enough time with them? Am I working too much? What the hell? Am I healed enough? Am I enough? I don't think mothers talk about that part enough. The constant questioning, the constant self-evaluation, the constant pressure. Because no matter how much we do, it really feels enough. And then there's the guilt. Oh my God. Mom guilt is really unlike anything I have ever experienced. You feel guilty for working, for not working, for needing time alone. You feel guilty when you're touched out, when you're overwhelmed, when you're losing your patience. You feel guilty for scrolling on your phone. It's like motherhood comes with this invisible scorecard that we're constantly measuring ourselves against. And somehow we're always convinced that we are falling short. But here's something I learned: the mothers who worry about being good mothers are usually the ones that are good mothers. The fact that you care enough to question yourself means you are already trying. And that matters a lot. Because here's the bottom line: your children, they don't need perfection. They need presence, okay? They need honesty and they need love, and they especially need safety. They need to know that when we mess up, we repair. That when we lose our patience, we come back. And when we're overwhelmed and frustrated and lose our shit, we take accountability. Because that's what real love looks like. Not perfection. It's never perfection. It's connection, repair, and growth. So then Nova comes. My sweet little Nova. And When I got pregnant with Nova, I remember having this fear. How, and maybe many other mothers have felt this too. How could I possibly love another child the way that I love my first child? How? Because our hearts already feel so completely full. Like it felt impossible. It felt impossible. And if you're a mother of more than one child, like I said, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. Because truly, when your second one does arrive, you start to wonder, am I going to give the first one enough attention? Is there going to be enough room? All the things. And then they arrive and suddenly you get it and you understand that here is a beautiful mystery of it. Okay. Love, it doesn't divide. It expands. Your heart just grows. It expands. And somehow there's room for it all. Watching Nova enter our lives, it taught me that human beings are capable of more love than we can ever truly comprehend. And it didn't take anything away from Sequoia. She just added to all of us. She made us bigger and louder and messier and fuller and a little bit more on edge. But we are all so much more connected now. And watching my girls become sisters has been one of the greatest gifts of my life. Also, one of the most emotional, because one day after I'm long gone, they will have each other. They'll share memories and stories and a childhood. They will share a childhood, a bond that only siblings understand. Every time I think about that, it really does bring tears to my eyes because time is a thief. It is the biggest thief. And motherhood truly teaches you that faster than anything else. One day you have a newborn and a kindergartner. One day you have a newborn. And then the next, they're going to kindergarten. And then after that, they're freaking reading. And then they're asking bigger questions. And then they start needing us a little less. And while that is the goal for them to need us less, which also does bring a little tear to my eye, it's also heartbreaking because every stage is the first and last time that you're going to experience it. The last contact nap, the last nap at all. The last time they ask you to carry them, or as Nova says, uppy, uppy. The last time that you bathe them. The last time that they reach for your hand before crossing the street. And the very sad thing about that is that you never know when it's the last time. It's not like, well, next Wednesday is going to be the last time Nova says, uppy, uppy. Like, you just you don't know. You only realize it until later. And that's the part that gets me because sometimes I look at my girls and I can almost see time moving in their eyes. And I just wish I could slow it down. Just a little. I mean, enough to memorize every single detail, their voices, their little laughs, the way they fight. Because one day they won't. And it's both beautiful and heartbreaking. And that's what motherhood is. It's beautiful and heartbreaking. Learning how to love something so deeply while knowing it isn't yours forever. Like you can't keep them little forever, and you also just can't keep them with you forever. That's not okay. But learning that every season is temporary and every stage passes and every moment becomes a memory, it's such a beautiful, heartbreaking truth. And I think that's why motherhood has changed me so much, is because it taught me what truly matters. It's not the laundry, it's not the dishes, and it's not the perfectly clean house. It's not the social media posts, and it's not the things that I used to think were important. What matters is presence, your full presence and connection and love. The ordinary moments that don't seem important until they're gone. I mean, we have to start finding the magic in the mundane because that's where it truly lies. And if you're a mother listening to this today, I want you to know something. You're doing a hell of a good job. You're doing better than you think you are. Your children don't need a perfect mother, they need you, the real you. They don't need the fully healed version of you. They just need to see you doing the work to heal, the trying you, the growing you. Even if it is the exhausted you, it's still the loving you, and that's enough. And it always has been, and it always will be. Until next time, you guys. We'll see you in the next episode.